Hey guys, Ben here from Velflex. Now I'm going to take you through pressing trucker caps. Now these can be really easy to press, but they can also be a bit of a nightmare if you don't take the trucker cap into consideration and the fabric that it's made of. Now guys, I'm going to show you how to do it, but let's have a look at a trucker cap really quick. All right, we're pressing a transfer onto the front here. Now this particular truck cap, nice flat surface, so that's really good. But what we need to look at is what the fabric is made of. Now this would be a polyester here, and it's like a foam, right, as well, okay? If we have a look, it's a nice spongy sort of foam-like fabric. So guys, what you need to know is this fabric is going to heat up very quickly, okay? So when it heats up really quickly, we've got to make sure that we're not overheating the actual fabric itself. If we overheat, it gets too hot, it can shrink, it can stretch, that sort of thing, it's unstable. But more than that, there's too much heat for the glue to melt. The glue runs too far into the fabric and you don't get a nice transfer bond sticking to the cap. So when you go to peel, it's difficult to peel and it's your worst nightmare. So guys, what we need to think about when we're doing trucker caps is short applications, okay? That's the key to pressing trucker caps. Now guys, I'm gonna do one here. So we've got the Hotronix Fusion 360 IQ. I've got it set at 145 degrees on the top plate and I've got no heat on the bottom plate, okay? As you can see here, I've got it turned off, and this is really important because we don't want any heat coming from the bottom. We only need it from the top in terms of pressing these trucker caps. Again, the fabric's gonna heat up so quickly, we only want that heat from the top. So cool, I'm gonna place this on. Now, actually, before I do that, we also have to consider the logos, guys. So now I'm gonna press this logo right here, and we might look at this logo, it's our Velflex X, and we might go, gee, you know, that's only a small logo for a cap, but it's actually about as big as it can ever go in terms of height. And I'll show you a reason why. If we have a look at that now, that's a nice high logo on the cap. It's actually gonna look quite good. But if we have a look at the placement here of this logo on this base plate, if we have a quick look, we can sort of see we can only press in between this area through the middle here. And I know the base plate looks quite big, but if we look through there, it's about 65 mil maximum area that is flat that you're actually going to be able to press onto and get a really solid, firm application. Any bigger than that, we start coming off the front of the actual rubber, or you start going around where it curves around, okay? So we can sort of see this tapers off here, and we don't want to be putting a transfer anywhere where it starts to taper off, okay? Because we're losing pressure. The other thing is with cap presses, guys, we have these big top plates, we have these wide base plates, but also transfers like this one here, and we might look at this one and go, that's a big transfer and I want it big on the front of my cap, and you go, that's gonna fit, okay? And if we have a look here, it kind of does, right? But from an application point of view, it's just simply too big for it to be an easy application. When I'm placing it over the top here, like I'm right down, all the way down to the very bottom of my base plate, I'm right up to the top. It's actually, or it's going over the top where it actually starts to taper away, guys. So that's right at the top there. When I'm pressing this, you very well might get these to work. Absolutely. I'm not saying that they won't work, but what I can tell you is it's absolutely at the maximum printable area, and you may find it difficult to get consistency in an easy application. So if you were to receive these sorts of orders and go, somebody wants, I wanted a really big print on the front of the cap, and you go, whoop, I'm going to go to my absolute maximum size. By doing that, you're pushing the envelope and going to make it difficult for yourself in terms of consistency and being able to print 100 caps, 100 successful ones, and not have any spoilage or wastage. So guys, make sure that you know your maximum size and bring it in. Have those conversations with your customers to make sure that they know that even though it looks like it could fit, you've got to make sure that it's a little bit smaller and you're not too close to those edges so that pressure is right. Guys, I'm going to press this logo right here, which is about as tall as I would ever want to put onto a cap. We could certainly go a little bit wider, but this is a nice logo here we're going to do today. We're going to place it on. Now, we've got to think about the sweatband in the inside of the cap, okay? We've got to make sure that we fold that down, otherwise it'll create an uneven pressure onto the front. So what we do is we pull it out, okay? And then we feed it over that cap plate, okay? Now, Really important here as well, we can always use, we've got a little lever at the back which we can always use on our cap here to pull it down. Okay, there's usually a spring on there that pulls that down here, and we want to make sure that the front of this cap here is lined up with the edge of that base plate. So if we have a look under here, we want that bit there right on the seam where that brim is, okay? Cool. Now, if we have a look at the Fusion IQ 360, it's nice and padded, like that base plate fills out a trucker cap really well. We're gonna get a really nice even pressure. Because I've pulled the sweatband out, we're not gonna have it here causing an uneven pressure across the front, okay? Cool. What we're also gonna do is we're gonna pull the plate down and just make sure that where the plate goes and presses onto that trucker, we're getting even heat here. Now, what you will know, it's not possible for that top plate to get right where the brim is, okay? So we can't put our transfer right down too close to the brim. You're simply not gonna get it pressed by the top plate. So that's another one of those restrictions in terms of size, right? You gotta make sure that you're putting the transfer where it can actually be pressed. Now guys, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give this a bit of a pre-press. I'm gonna do, say 4 or 5 seconds, okay? And I'm just gonna give that a little pop up. Done, I've got heat into the fabric. I've stabilised the fabric, it's very hot. So now that's gonna allow me to do a much shorter application of the transfer. And I'm gonna do 5 seconds, that's it, okay? So I'm gonna come to the front here, I'm gonna go time, and I'm gonna drop it down to 5 seconds for my application. Because that's all I need when I'm pressing onto truckers, especially if I've done that pre-press. I've heated up the fabric, I've got any sort of moisture or any residual out of it. It's a nice stable fabric. Cool. Transfer, we've done our pre-press, I now place it on there, okay? And I'm making sure that the transfer itself isn't too close to the brim. I also made sure that when I pulled down for the pre-press, the top plate where it was going to, and it was going down to about here, that's great. And I really can't have it any higher than where it is there, because that's where it starts to taper off. So this is really, this transfer here is as big a transfer from a height point of view that you would be able to put onto a trucker cap, right? So, cool. We've got our placement. We're now going to pull down for a 5-second application. Cool. It's going to pop up, and then we're going for an immediate peel, okay? So just like that, guys, we're going to peel that off. It came away just like butter. There was no grippiness or grabbiness or anything like that. And that's because we were able to do a pre-press, get the heat into the fabric, and then do a short application. If we were to press that for 10 seconds, you might find it was too hot for too long, and the glue starts running too far into the fabric. It's too much heat for the glue to bond when the top plate comes up, and you might struggle with peeling the application, the actual liner off, because the transfer wants to lift because the glue hasn't been able to set. Guys, that was super easy in terms of pressing. If this was a cap for myself, I always love a final little quick press. It's a personal thing. It's not needed for the durability of this transfer, certainly not for the Ultra Color, but from a look point of view, if you just want to give that another couple of seconds, really quick, done, there we go, just like that. That there is a perfect application. Now, you will see, guys, there's a little bit of a little square there from the plastic where it was on. You'll find as the heat sort of subsides in this particular garment, you might give that a bit of a rub, even a little bit of a, if you had a little bit of a steamer or something like that, but if you give that a bit of a rub, it sort of takes that sort of change out. Guys, this is a polyester. When you heat it up, you can sometimes get a slight shining of synthetic fabrics from the top plate and from your plastic liners and things like that. They typically do rub out that sort of thing, so long as you haven't scorched the fabric. And hence, again, why doing a really short application, your 5 seconds, is a great idea. Guys, if you have any questions around pressing trucker caps, make sure you reach out to us, but they should be as easy as that.